na bakin ciki da damuwa a wurin kuma ina tabbatarwa iyayen yara cewa ba mu iya cewa mun yi su damuwa, amma su tabbatar da cewa damuwarmu tana tare da su tunda mun san cewa haƙƙi da nauyi yana wuyanmu da tabbatar da cewa an kare rayuwarsu da lafiyarsu. Kuma kamar mitin da muka yi da sojoji yanzu suna can suna fara da mutanen in Allah da za mu yi iyaka ƙoƙarin duk yaran nan sai an so su don Allah don annabi mutane a ƙara haƙuri a ƙara addu'a, wato zage-zage da ɓace-ɓace a halin da ake ciki ba zai biya bukata ba.
So you have that going on as part of the things that really did happen over the weekend. That was the direct interview done by the governor. I'm sorry to now so long, but that was almost immediately after that happened. But then moving on, there was still also other moments in which the governor had to express himself alongside with the Minister of Defense. Take a listen to this. Yes, the Minister of Defense. No, I beg to say, I mixed that up. That was not the Minister of Defense. That was supposed to be the clip on the coalition that I do have. Okay, so I'll get back to that in a short while from now. But the Minister of Defense has promised that there's going to be soonest quick rescue of the young men and women involved in, well, pretty much men so far, involved in that very situation. Let me walk you through a little bit of how the story is now taking on a new trend in its own right. Daily Trust is reporting this, that 668 students still missing. School register shares. Now, a little bit of this story as it goes on here. It says 668 students of the government secondary school, Kankara, Katsina State, are still missing. The school register has shown. One of the reporters who was at the school yesterday gathered that at the time of the incident, the school had 1,074 students in both its junior and senior secondary school sections in this session. A source in the school said in the junior section, there are 6 classes comprising JSS 1A, which had 58 students, 1B had 62 students, 1C has 64 students, JSS 2A has 74 students, 2B 79 students, 2C 75 students. For the senior section, SS1A had 97 students, 1B had 108 students, 1C 106 students, 1D 118 students. In the SS2 class, in the 2A part of SS2, you find 74, in 2B 79, 2C 80. Now, given a total of 1,074 students. Now, but SS3 and SS3 students have completed their exams as they were not in school during the attack. But according to how Daily Trust went on into this, they gathered that 270 students were rescued from the school on the night of the attack, with the number of those who returned from the bush the following night, or those who were reported to have gone home by their parents. The number of those found rose to 406 as of Sunday morning. However, Katsina State Governor Aminu Bello Masari yesterday said 333 students were still missing, as against 668 found by Daily Trust during the interaction with the sources in the school. Now, parents of the missing students who spoke with Daily Trust have called on the authorities to intensify efforts at ensuring that children are rescued as soon as possible. Alhaji Ishmael Kafu said it's really disturbing that these boys aged between 12 to 16 are subjected to terrible conditions. We cannot eat or sleep well because we don't know their condition of health or even their whereabouts. My son is 14 years old and he is in SS1. From our hometown, Kafo, there are about 4 boys who are still missing. Okay, so that puts things in a whole new light with regards to that. Okay, so let me take you through a little bit of what Garba Shehu had said in response to that situation. His response, of course, is closely connected to what you would have the president say on such a situation. It responded by saying, President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday strongly condemned the bandits' attack at the government science secondary school, Kankara, in Katsina State, charging the army and the police to go after the attackers to ensure that no student gets missing or armed. The students urged the school authorities to carry out an audit of the population of the students following the shootings in and around the school that sent hundreds of them fleeing and scrambling over perimeter walls. Parents who rushed to the school and removed their children and wards were also required to notify the school and police authorities in order to have a full account of the school population. Again, I strongly condemn the cowardly bandits' attack on innocent children at the science school, Kankara. Our prayers are with the families of the students, the school authorities, and the injured, said President Muhammadu Buhari, who have pledged to continue to support the police and military struggle against terrorists and bandits. Well, in the latest briefing received by the President, Governor Aminu Bello Masari, with whom he has been in charge, and the Army Chief of Staff, General Tukur Buratai, the military, supported by air power, has located the bandits' enclave at Zango Pola Forest in Kankara. That's that what I just read out now. The latest being what had come in at December 12th. That's 2 days ago at 4:36 p.m. And then it goes on to say, okay, supported by air powers, located the bandits' enclave at Zango Pala Forest in Kankara, and there's been an exchange of fire in an ongoing operation. Police said so far there's not been reported any students' casualty. The president has directed the reinforcement of security of all schools in line with the state school policy of the administration. Okay, that summarizes a little bit of the position of the president and the update is able to provide with regards to that. Now, the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, which is the opposition party, has been speaking extensively about this development. Take a listen for yourself through their spokesman, Kola Olobodinyo.
Some attack on government science secondary school, Kankara, Katsina State, by suspected terrorists, leading to reported deaths and abduction of no fewer than 600 students. The PDP, standing with the entire Katsina people, charges President Muhammadu Buhari as the commander-in-chief who promised to lead from the front to account for the abducted students, as the large-scale abduction happened a few hours after Mr. President and his security machinery took over the state. Our party holds as perplexing that at a time the people of Katsina should heave a sigh of relief because of the presence of Mr. President in his own state. The abduction happened right under Mr. President's nose in his home state where he had done holiday. Our party holds as perplexing, this development has further exposed the failure of President Muhammadu Buhari to manage high-level security intelligence that ought to accompany the presidential visit. The PDP notes as distressing that President Buhari, who refused to honor an invitation by the House of Representatives for a collective deliberation on security, will abandon his duty post for a holiday, leaving our nation's flank open for terrorists, bandits, plunderers, and insurgents. The time of the attack buttresses the fact that President Buhari, as the commander-in-chief, is totally incapable of securing our nation. The very reason there have been widespread calls by patriotic Nigerians that he should resign from office. This insolence of Mr. President towards issue of national security compelled our caucus in the House of Representatives to demand for his impeachment, which our party supports. Our party, the People's Democratic Party, also believes that if President Buhari had listened to wise counsel as profiled by the People's Democratic Party and other patriotic Nigerians, including the two chambers of the National
Well, that's a little bit of what the PDP is explaining with regards to that situation there. We'll take a look at that and listen extensively to each other on the show. That will be after we take the 11 o'clock news. Stay with us. This is Media Dialogue with Trinity Live.
Now, Midday Dialogue. Midday Dialogue. With Femi D Live. On 95.1 Nigeria Info. Femi D Live. It's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. And now we bring you news from around the world.
News from around the world.
Around the world.
Hello and thank you for staying with 95.1 Nigeria Info to the world news. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court says she will ask for a full investigation into possible war crimes and crimes against humanity allegedly committed by Boko Haram during its protracted conflict with the Nigerian government. Fatou Bensouda said authorities had completed a preliminary examination and found reasonable basis to believe that Islamist extremist movement and its splinter groups had committed acts constituting crimes against humanity. This included murder, rape, sexual slavery, including forced pregnancy and forced marriage, enslavement, and torture. Elsewhere, South Africa's Northwest Province's Department of Education is investigating how a trip for final year student at Freedad was approved. The students who had completed their matric exams at the Ratsus Segile Secondary School were traveling back from a trip in Brits area when their vehicle was involved in a road accident. Matric exams are sat for by grade 12 students to mark the end of secondary school. Reports say 3 of the students died on the spot, while 7 others were injured and taken to the hospital. School trips had been banned and only educational ones were to be approved by the Education Department. The UK and EU have agreed to carry on post-Brexit trade talks after a call between leaders early on Sunday. In a joint statement, Boris Johnson and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said it was responsible at this point to go the extra mile. The pair discussed major unresolved topics during their call. The two sides had said Sunday was the deadline for decision on whether to continue with talks with the UK set to leave the EU rules at the end of the month. The leaders agreed to tell negotiators to carry on talks in Brussels to see whether an agreement can even at this late stage be reached. They did not say how long this latest talks would continue, but the ultimate deadline is December 31, and time must be allowed for the UK and European Parliament to vote on any deal that emerges before then. The UK Prime Minister later revealed details of their discussion.
Well, I just talked to Ursula von der Leyen and updated the cabinet about the contents of the call. And the idea was that when we went out on Wednesday, the hope was that we were going to be able to finish things off on today if there was a deal to be done. As things stand, and this was basically what Ursula and I agreed, I'm afraid we're still very far apart on some key things. But where there's life, there's hope. We're going to keep talking to see what we can do. The UK certainly won't be walking away.
New Zealand has agreed to a quarantine-free travel bubble with Australia in principle. The country's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said trips under the agreement could begin early next year. However, the much-anticipated deal will depend on the COVID-19 situation in both countries remaining as it is now. Travelers from New Zealand have been allowed to enter most Australian states without quarantine since October. So far, though, this has been a one-way agreement, meaning they must do 14 days of managed isolation on their return to New Zealand, and Australians are not allowed into New Zealand at all unless they have an exemption. Germany is going to a hard lockdown over Christmas period as the number of deaths and infections from the coronavirus reach record levels. Non-essential shops will close across the country from Wednesday, as will schools, with children to be cared for at home wherever possible. Chancellor Angela Merkel blamed Christmas shopping for considerable rise in social contacts. The latest figures showed 20,200 more infections and a further 321 deaths. The new lockdown will run from December 16 to January 10. Announcing the move after meeting leaders of the country's 16 states,
Merkel said there was an urgent need to take action. And that's the world news on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Don't forget to always send us eyewitness report as news breaks in your area. Do send your report to eyewitness@cowazobianfo.com. Follow us on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Abuja, Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja, Twitter at Nigeria Info ABJ, or visit our website at www.nigeriainfo.fm, or visit Google Play Store to download the mobile app. I am Bivan Magoni. Thank you for staying with us.
Online,
On air.
What are you saying? Can't you see the state of the nation?
all the time,
All the time. Stay connected with the latest information.
on 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Brace yourself because there was loads of laughter on Christmas Day as Real Life Entertainment presents Crack Ya Read with Julius, the genius Agu Pet. Live in Port Harcourt on Christmas Day, featuring Fuji, I Don't Say, Senator, Funny Mode, Romeo, MC Passion, Abrita Baba, Keo Baba, Advisor, Janice Breed, Aquino Cone, and lots more. Musical performances by Bob Wild and legendary Soggy on the Wheels of Steel, the DJ GZ. Date is Friday, 25th December, Christmas Day. Venue, Aztec Acom, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. Time 5 p.m. Gate fee, regular, 5,000 naira. VIP, 10,000 naira. Table of 10, 500,000 naira. No face mask, no entry. For more information, please call 0818-110-3041. Tickets are available at Port Harcourt Mall, Market Square, Kilimanjaro, Everyday Supermarket, Genesis Cinemas, and Eden Kingdom Lounge. Crack Ya Read with Julius Agu on Christmas Day is powered by Rivers State Government. Media partner, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, and Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info.
A great talk show unravels your thinking, makes you start to listen, engages you in the debate of opinions,
I believe this man knows what he's doing. He is a Nigerian.
and ultimately brings you to the king of talk radio, Femi D Live.
And welcome back to the show. It's 7 minutes past 11 a.m. Nigerian time as we continue to take a look at some of the information that is building up around the kidnap of young boys. As we have the numbers now, 333 of them, according to the numbers provided by the state governor in Katsina State with regards to this. Governor Masari is been speaking up with regards to that situation there. And yes, it's of interest as well to also know that quite a number of people, and yes, groups have become quite vocal about this. Coalition of northern groups are threatening to step forward to protest if the students are not rescued. Take a listen to this.
And now, Midday Dialogue with Femi D Live on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Femi D Live.
Today we embark on another round of struggle on the recent terrorization, displacement, abduction, and creating chaos or confusion in Government Science Secondary School, Kankara, on Friday night. Statement on unfortunate incident of Government Science Secondary School, Kankara, Katsina State. Background. For the past few years, our state has struggled with disabling challenges that include dwindling economy, rising poverty, and more worrying, a crippling security situation that has taken a huge toll on lives and properties. The situation manifested initially in the form of cattle rustling in few local governments in the southern part of the state, and within a short time, spread to other parts of the state. This trend into a deadly armed banditry and kidnapping for ransom, which is recycled for arms and drugs, for reasons that are largely dubious. The culmination of these security challenges has for the past few years turned the entire state into a house of horror, with violent killings reportedly on a daily basis. Communities displaced with formal and informal IDP camps spreading all over the state. The situation has today reached an unacceptable level, with the attack launched by a deadly armed bandit at Government Science Secondary School, Kankara. Information reaching us while writing this communique, many students are still missing. Dark as the clouds may appear, depressing as the news may be, hopeless as the situation may seem, silence is a luxury we cannot afford. The deafening silence in the state to our people suffering is not only morally wrong, but it nourishes, validates, and perpetuates the feeling of our political leaders. Observations. 1. CNG notes that there is a relative improvement in the security situation in the state. However, the activities of bandits, kidnappers, and cattle rustlers are still constituting a threat to sustainable development. While CNG commends the effort of the security agencies in the state, we equally appeal to the state government to strengthen activities of vigilantes and action to complement their efforts. 2. CNG believes that no meaningful development would be possible without security, and if things do not change to halt the slide into this dark abyss very soon, the state may plunge into anarchy. The attack of Government Science Secondary School Kankara by armed bandits exposes not only the weakness of the government, but also lack of its concern to the educational sector, describing the action as inhuman, insensitive, ungodly, barbaric, and regrettable situation, and call for an immediate action. Our stand. 1. While condemning in totality this barbaric act and call for the immediate arrest and prosecution of the culprits, we equally stress the inability of the government to protect those young, innocent, vibrant students from this horrible attack as uncalled for. 2. Failure of the government to rescue the missing student within a shortest period of time. CNG will not hesitate to mobilize hundreds of thousands on the streets of Katsina State for a continuous protest until the students are fully rescued. This will happen even if it is going to cost our lives. 3. We demand an immediate closure of all boarding secondary schools in the state with an immediate deployment of security personnel well equipped at all the secondary schools within the state. 4. Additional security personnel, armor, personnel carriers, fighter jets should be mobilized to Katsina State with immediate effect by the federal authorities. 5. While we commend the effort of Katsina State government for its immediate response, we equally condemned in strongest terms the inability of the president to visit the scene despite being in the state. 6. While rumors goes around that over 400 students are missing, we call on the state government to immediately clarify the matter so as to ascertain the exact number of missing students. We are not wrong by saying that President Buhari-led administration has failed in discharging its primary responsibility of protecting lives and properties of people. 8. While we commend the effort of good Samaritans in the local government, we equally call for collaborative effort between the security agencies and local intelligence with all sincerity of purpose so as to defeat the menace. In conclusion, Your Excellency, sir, we regret to conclude that the state is not wrong when it insists that its expectations and aspirations are not being served by the quality and competence of many of the people it elected to work and see the state through this difficult period. When we say we bear the brunt of bad or poor governance more than other Nigerians, we speak from a solid experience because when the economy and security deteriorate, we feel the pain more sharply than the others. With security, we can feed ourselves and feed the rest of Nigeria. But when cost of inputs become prohibitive, threat to lives limit productive capacity, hearts are stolen or limited by hostile and damaging political interests, the economy of the state suffers. Long live coalition of northern groups, long live Katsina State, and long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And now, Midday Dialogue.
Well, keeping it together and following through with some of the details as we have it coming in, that was Abdulaziz Sulaiman, who is for the Coalition of Northern Group. I understand they've agreed that they'll be taking on a walk from the various state chapters to Daura, where the president is expected to be now. Remember, the president is in Katsina State for a week-long visit, which started off on Friday. So he's expecting, maybe he was expecting them, but they have notified that they'll be working under the banner of Bring Back Our Boys campaign. And yes, a long trek to Daura is the mission right now, to call on the president to embark on immediate action. And yes, they say they'll be taking off from Dambata in solidarity, from Dabata area in solidarity of this, as we would have it. Now, in Yobe State, farmers and others continue to clash. Even over the weekend, I understand there was a clash with regards to who owns what. As always, the tradition of mishap is going on there. Very discomforting, but it's the reality that there is to do with. In Oyo State, the PPRO, that's the Oyo State Police Command spokesperson, Police Public Relations Officer in the state, Ulubega Fadeyi, has told reporters that 2 Indians, name not given right now, around 4 p.m. were kidnapped at a pharmaceutical firm close to the toll gate along Ibadan Expressway. They do have been abducted while driving out of the premises of the pharmaceutical firm. And yes, the kidnappers reportedly opened fire on the vehicle, which grounded it to a halt when the tires were flat. It was gathered that the 2 foreigners were robbed of their cash and other personal effects before they were whisked away to an unknown destination by abductors. These are all the stories accumulating all in one place. Let's dialogue about it. Let's talk about this situation now and your thoughts about this. So the question I did put forward on Twitter, for those who have been following our Twitter notification, is, so we have quite a number of rescues to get done. There's the Bring Back Our Girls. Yes, the Chibok girls, right? There's the Dapchi moment where I believe some people still missing in action. They've not all been rescued. Now we have boys from Kankara. Yes, I think that's the pronunciation Vivian was able to put me on. Kankara as well, now also missing. And the rescue mission goes on and on. Not to talk of many incidents and stories that continue to be the plight of the North. And it appears it's becoming quite discomforting for a lot of groups in the North. Many remember that even last week, the Sultan of Sokoto State did make comments about the level of insecurity in the northern part of the country. And he extensively talked about the fact there was need for action and not much words to be said at such a critical time. Many of us also talked about Governor Zulum of Borno State last week, where he made strong comments that almost seemed like he was holding up to praises of the president. But later on, I did come down to read some other analysis that, well, if it's too critical of the federal mines, he may just not get the support he needs to secure his state, well, based on resources that he may need to do so. So he has to speak to an extent with the words that best he understands, or the language that best puts forward him in the favorable books of whosoever is listening to grant those needs done. These realities are there. Politics on one hand, insecurity on another platter completely as well. All right, well, let's listen to you now. Let's talk about all that is going on, from the response of the PDP to the coalition groups to Masari, the governor of Katsina State, to the Minister of Defense, who says they will be rescued soon enough. It's an easy task, okay? To also the response of Garabashiru, who has said where quite a number of children have been rescued, and to the attendance list, which positions that they're waiting to locate close to over 600 other students who either have gone home or in any other locations yet to truly be confirmed by the media and by security operatives at this time. Numbers are coming up right now. Numbers are 0946 00951. You can also join the conversation on 080 31230293. And finally, 08095974869. Do remember, as you call me up, you have to be responsible in your comments. Take it nice and easy. It doesn't help any one of us to be sentimental about the situation that we have on ground right now. There's call for emotions, but not sentiments where we use words that do not portray or takes away the intelligence of what we intend to get across. Remember, nice and easy is the way to go. No abuses, no curse words, no lies, no fake news. Stay within the facts. That's where being able to provide for you, and we'll have a good conversation on the show. My simple question is, the many rescue missions of children held on stage by terrorists in Nigeria, what do we do next? Let's take those calls from you now. I'm glad you connected with us. Welcome to the show. Good morning to you. Good to have you on the show. Please go on. Yes, go on.
It's a surprising thing, but we pray to God to help, because these children are innocent children. Please, God will have mercy. And all the insecurity, God should come to our aid. You know, but the cow will not get it, and God, the push price for you. Somebody will reply again, but before it was paper, change it to the storage or whatever. But now look at the situation on ground. Nobody will talk any talk now. Please, God will help us. Let us go to fasting and prayer. Let us fast and pray to God to come to our aid. That is my text, please.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Fred, for your time and your comments. Good morning to you. Very well. What's your name? All right, Mama, let's hear you.
Yeah, maybe I think we've not really taken the security situation, especially in the Northeast, very serious. And my reasons are just that if you have been able to live within the northern region, you'll find that they are closely knitted. They know who comes in and who goes out. Because the percentage in their residencies is not that high. So they know basically whoever is doing what within their community. So I think the security system from the government is what is causing the problem, because when information is even given, it is not seriously taken. Or if it is seriously taken, in one way or the other, it leaks out. So the information giver becomes at risk of what is going to be his failure. And so when they see these things, they close their mouth. And in the recent situations now, I think I wouldn't really know how to describe it. 300 something people take in Femidi. Were they taken in a trailer or were they taken in an aeroplane that between the school and wherever they took them to, nobody was able to say these people are coming and these people are going. So these are some of the confusions, those of us who are out there and don't know really how.
All right, let's leave it at that with you. Okay, thank you so much. In fact, there are no words to describe it. I'm not too sure I would ever even find myself at a position where I can describe this the situation as we have it. It also comes at a critical time where lots of the leading members of the Nigerian army are down with COVID-19. They contracted the virus. And yes, the army has also made clarification with regards to the late General Irene. From what I do hear, Major General J.O. Irefini. Okay, that's the name now, Irefini. In a new release by the Nigerian Army, in an attempt to seek clarification, Brigadier General Sagri Musa, the acting director of Army Public Relations, clarified that he tested positive to COVID-19, and all attempts eventually, even to save his life, even in a specialist hospital in Gwagwalada and the likes of that, did not prove. No, they could not rescue him. Unfortunately, he passed on at 5:10 a.m. on Thursday, 10th of December 2020. A situation that is really now leading to other army leadership members or members of the leadership having to take some safety. We're glad you connected with us. Good morning to you. Welcome. What's your name? All right, Chigaze, share with me. What's your thoughts on this? The many rescue missions of Nigeria.
Well, let me say, I stand with what the PDP said. Okay? Yes, because Mr. President has failed. Even when the suggestion comes on how to, deal with the service chiefs, he refused to act on it. The National Assembly called for him to come. He refused to. Then what do you expect? And he is the chief officer that's supposed to protect life and properties of the country, of the citizens. Now, what are we saying? So it's so that the government has already failed, even in his own state, yeah, that this can happen. What do we see?
All right, well, thank you so much. Okay, questions arising in many ways, more than one. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Welcome to Midday Dialogue. I'm doing very well. What's your name? Welcome. Let's hear you.
So far, you remember last year, the governor of Katsina State put a meeting with some members. We need to question the governor also. Where are these people? I know there are no faith for it now. The governor also has an answer for this my question. Number one. Secondly, the president is a Katsina, and this thing happens on just like what the PDP say. You can imagine now the last man that you play his voice. He was talking about that they will protect. I want to advise him They should not protest. So it will not be sign of they want to hijack government from Mr. President. Because if you remember last time when people protested against your NSAS, what the response came out is that they want to remove Buhari, government change of government. But now look at what is going on. Are we happy with what is going on? What is going on? Did you hear Garba Shehu? Garba Shehu will say we should not play politics with.
Easy, easy, easy. We're not taking this personal. We're not going personal on this.
What happened the other time, 2014? The same government of today, there's no name they didn't call the previous government. I don't know, maybe you come across one news yesterday. The northern leader said Jonathan was the cause of bandits, that he was the one who formed the bandits. Can you imagine it? They are blaming everybody. When are they going to blame President Muhammadu Buhari? They didn't blame me. The president.
Okay. There's that here as well. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, let's leave it at that with you, Adelmi. Thank you. All right. Let's leave it at that. Adelmi, don't forget there are other people also waiting to use the line. But just to confirm that what you mentioned about if there was ever amnesty given, well, yes, Northwest governors at some point in time in 2019 disclosed after a one-day security and reconciliation meeting with security agencies, vigilantes, volunteer groups, herdsmen, and farmers in Katsina State on the 1st of August 2019, they were thinking and said, well, it wouldn't be a bad plan to contemplate amnesty for some of the people there. In fact, there's a story about this in the Financial Times as well that talks about overwhelmed by bandits, Nigerian states offers amnesty. There's a story therein as well in the Financial Times relating to that. So, well, that was just last year, just barely over a year ago. And here we are, and the situation is turning out so different. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Good morning to you. All right, Chinedu, we're listening to you.
My brother, nobody should blame President Muhammadu Buhari for this thing that is happening in Nigeria today. The man have already turned west to Nigeria. I don't know why we are complaining now. People should not complain. I want National Assembly now to start, just if they know how they will just rally around, change this our constitution, make Buhari like president to be okay for Nigeria. Nobody should complain. Nigeria is very calm, it's good, it's a general. You know what he's doing. Nobody should blame Buhari, and God bring Buhari to Nigeria.
All right, let's leave it at that with you. Okay, I do not enjoy the tour. You're not being analytical there. Good morning to you. All right, I am with you.
Yes, Benji, my own, I listened to what happened in Mozambique a few days ago. They called all these foreign soldiers. Then they made the president. They discussed. Now it has stopped. Those terrorists, it has gone. Look at Al-Shabaab. It's AU soldiers.
Oh dear, not too sure why your call didn't stay long enough. Let's take another call. We have just one more call we can take before the headline news comes up. Good morning to you. I'm glad you connected with us. Mike, let's hear you in 1 minute because the news comes up next.
Blaming Buhari or blaming who or changing the service chief at this point in time will not do the magic win. For me, I put up the post. I said effective and efficient identity management system and a very well regulated telecoms are like the two hands that must wash themselves very clean before we can talk about good security in Nigeria. We're not saying we're going to end it entirely, but at least we're going to bring it down to the barest minimum. People have those two in place. That's my take.
All right, thank you, Mike. When the wind blows, okay. Thank you so much for your time. As we prepare for the headline news just before 12 o'clock news, which comes up, which is the major news bulletin. Let me quickly also say the Senate is set to review the 2014 Comfort report. APC restructuring required. They say they'll be embarking on that as well. So much going on across the country. Many of you recall that I mentioned on Friday that the Lagos State governor and his wife continue to be in isolation, having tested positive to COVID-19. You also have the governor of Kaduna State, whose report of his status of his level of exposure we would still try to ascertain as we go on. The SGF, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, also joins the list of people with his household. I understand he himself and his wife are not positive, but his household is positive. So they may need to do other tests as well. But for now, let's hang in there as we take on the headline news at this time. Stay with us right here. This is Nigeria Info.
Midday Dialogue. With Femi D Live on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Femi D Live.
In our headlines, Katsina State Governor Mosori confirms 333 students missing after Kankara abduction. Defense Minister says all missing Katsina students will return home in few hours. Coalition of Northern groups condemns Katsina attack, calls for arrest of culprits. Women protest against abduction of Katsina students, demand their immediate release. PDP tells President Buhari to account for kidnapped Katsina students. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar advises President Buhari to declare state of emergency on security. Military kills scores of terrorists in Sambisa forest. Serap asks Buhari Silva to explain how Petroleum Ministry spent 160 million naira on pens others. And CDC on Sunday reports 418 new cases of COVID-19 as total hits 73,175. ADP mourns Ndai Isaiah, says late publisher will be long remembered as compatriot. To the business scene, federal government establishes 12 Songhai-style integrated power projects in Edo State. Federal government connects 60 megawatt hydropower plant to national grid. National Bureau of Statistics says banks non-performing loans now 1.17 trillion naira. Equity market closes week negative on profit taken. To the foreign scene, UK and EU to continue post-Brexit trade talks. New Zealand and Australia agree on quarantine-free travel bubble. ICC prosecutor to pursue Boko Haram war crimes charges. Eswatini's prime minister dies after testing positive for COVID-19. And finally, to sports, Anthony Joshua Fury talk tough ahead of potential fight. President Buhari, Sports Minister Dari, Governor Building orders hail Joshua. New Zealand's UEFA Champions League fight today. And that's the headline news on 95.1 Nigeria Info. Don't forget, you can always send us eyewitness report as news breaks in your area. Send your report to eyewitness at causeofinfo.com. Follow us on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Abuja, Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja, Twitter at Nigeria Info ABJ. Visit our website at www.nigeriainfo.fm or visit Google Play Store to download the mobile app. I am Bivon Magoni. Good morning.
Online.
On air. What are you saying? Can't you see the state of the nation?
All the time.
Stay connected with the latest information.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Headline: Viva Magoni sleeping. Headline 2: Viva Magoni snoring.
conversation and passion to inform, we enjoin you to be calm and make contributions devoid of hate speech, abuses, fake news, and unverifiable information. Let's talk with a mandate to uphold peace and unity. God bless Nigeria. 95.1 Nigeria.
A great talk show unravels your thinking, makes you stop to listen, engages you in a debate of opinions.
I believe this man knows what he's doing. He is a Nigerian.
And ultimately brings you to the king of talk radio, Femi D.
And now, midday down.
Welcome back to the show this very morning, 11:36 a.m. Nigerian time. We have a lot to cover as we continue to track down all the news stories from different platforms. And yes, how all these stories, when we are doing it, influence the Nigerian polity and the conversations as we have it today. All right, well, I'm keeping up with some of your thoughts right now via WhatsApp. Lorenzo in Cuba said, I just listened to your colleague read the news of the intention of ICC to investigate war crimes in Nigeria. You guys mentioned investigation of Boko Haram in your bulletin and carefully left out the part where you mentioned investigating Nigerian security forces. Well, maybe you should take out time to wait for the major news bulletin at 12. Lorenzo from Cuba, I'm sure you'll be more enlightened, okay? Austin in Austin Ogeze. Yeah, okay, I hope I got your name right now. Oh, wow, this a better wish, okay. Moving on, let's see. Oh, yeah. Good morning, family. The abduction of the boys from their school in Kankara in Katsina State by the bandits, even when the #1 man and chief security officer of the nation, the president, Muhammadu Buhari, is around for holidays, is quite disheartening and trembling. However, until there is a unanimous resolution to fiscal federalism in Nigeria, which will give room for community policing to tackling insecurity in this nation. If the security operations is not decentralized, I'm afraid this insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, Boko Haram activities, headsmen and other armed headsmen and other